Welcome. In today's video, we will be studying VRA technical analysis and whether the project is doomed for failure or whether it will see an immense recovery. Nothing that I say is financial advice. Let's dive into the content. So on X, I tweet about VRA quite a lot and I tend to get quite a negative response. And I think that comes from the fundamental sides of the project, which I don't disregard, guys. I think it's very, very important to stay along with that. And me, myself, I'm not a VRA holder, but I love just charting and I'm here to give you a breakdown and my honest thoughts on the project. So from a technical standpoint alone, I believe in my last video, I was saying that I expected this previous level of resistance from sort of 2019, 2020 to be held as support and to turn this previous resistance zone into a support zone. And we did, in fact, when we came down to this area in April, have a rally of about 200%. But where we met this wick high, I will show you very quickly now. If I just get off some of these indicators, this monthly 20 EMA has been a pain in the backside for VRA ever since it lost it back in April 2022. You can see it had this drastic pull down. It ran up to this 20 EMA, got rejected. It ran up to it again, got rejected, pulled back, had an overshoot, but again, rejected and fell back below it. Come into 2024, we had a pump up to the 20 again, rejected, fell below it. And now this is where it's brought us into 2025. And I was expecting this imminent support or this previous resistance to turn into support and hold. And you can see again, this wick that we had in May ran up straight into the 20 EMA. So this moving average is the key resistance that we need to see VRA get back above in the future to see potential upside. Okay, this is a key EMA to reclaim on the monthly time frame. There's not enough data back here, but you can imagine that this yellow line was probably trailing somewhere down here in December 2020. And what happened was it would have broken above it, retested it for support, held it and broke out again. When you are above this EMA and you're holding it as support, coming back to it and bouncing off of it, this is an uptrend. When you are below this EMA and hitting your heads on it and continuously being pushed down, this is a downtrend. So initially on the monthly time frame, the trend is your friend until the end. This is still technically a downtrend, and it's the same for many altcoins. What I don't understand is that yes, VRA is down right now about 98%. Okay, altcoins have taken a battering, a lot more this cycle than they have in prior. I mean, if I look at something like VeChain, again, this is a top coin. This project from its all-time high is down, where are we? 92%, 93%. If we look at, let's look at Credi, which is something that I study quite a lot. This project is down from its all-time highs, gosh, probably 99%. Where are we? 98%. If we look at Swarm, okay, which I think is an absolute gem of an RWA, but the chart doesn't show it. But this project is down 98% as well. You know, VRA should not get standalone treatment for where it is in the cycle. A lot of altcoins are also in this sort of territory, okay, but nonetheless, okay, looking back at the technicals, this support that I wanted to hold after being rejected from the 20-month EMA, it's been lost, okay? And we've seen a candle close below this level. So right now, the imminent support for VRA is this wick, okay? It's this wick from, where was we? In April, and that currently sits at around 0.30953, around that sort of area. This needs to hold. Okay, and if it does hold, what this potentially could be over the last couple of months is just deviation below this resistance that I would have liked to see as support. And if we can start to get a recovery here and start pushing back up to this 20 EMA, which currently sits at 0.0035. If that is the case, then we could class this as deviation, and we're looking to try and get the pushback up to this EMA once more. However, if VRA does continue to close monthly candles below this green line, okay, below 0.0013, if it continues to close below that, then I would expect these lows just to come into fruition again. And what we could do is just get a complete reset back to base towards these 2020, 2021 lows, and then reset the rocket ship. I mean, if you look at the stock RSI right now, the stock RSI is in the floor. This sort of area throughout history has proved to be an area where we at least see some sort of relief. I mean, even during the cycle in July 2021, when he was in the floor here, you see the price picked up and had a nice appreciation before rolling back over, and then come to this bullish cross here on the stock RSI as well. Okay, what's going on here with my screen? This was back in January of 2023 when this bullish cross formed and you started to pick up in the stock RSI. This is where you had this impulsive move. Back here, again, when you had the bullish cross and you was in the floor on the stock RSI, you can see that the price appreciated. And right now, once again, fast forward to July 2025, we are in the floor and are, in my opinion, over the next couple of months, looking for some sort of retracement. And to me, this 20 EMA is the key thing to break. I think this will be the next retracement point when it does decide to sort of pick itself up. This yellow line is where VRA needs to break, okay? But the stock RSI is in the floor on the monthly time frame. These are areas you want to get involved, in my honest opinion. When you are in the tops here in the charts, okay, and you're overbought on the stock RSI, this would have been an indication that maybe it's time to offload some profits, okay? So whenever the stock RSI is at extreme highs, this is not an area you should be looking to really and truly get an entry. Again, solely it doesn't mean that this is where the top's going to be, because this could extend and the stock RSI could overextend for quite a while, just like it did back here from March all the way until March 22 to February 23. We spent a year in oversold territory, just completely crashing down, okay? But this is full bear market. Now, what I think is actually going on here for VRA in regards to price structure, I think that what we've actually got is potentially this large macro ABC correction. Now, this would only be valid if we continue to close below this imminent support at 0.0013. But in my honest opinion, we could be coming back for a macro correction, an A, B, C correction back down to this major demand zone and these support levels of sort of 2020 before then actually building the rocket ship. Because at the moment, I've been studying several charts and a lot of them point towards we're still in Bitcoin season. Bitcoin dominance climbs. Whether Bitcoin goes down or up, dominance has still been climbing, okay? And Bitcoin is at close to all-time highs at 107K roughly, whilst altcoins are just lagging, still lagging. And that's because we're predominantly in Bitcoin season. There has not been the indications of the flippening for the altcoins yet. So therefore, altcoins remain risk off. We need to consider that this is still the play, and this is why over the next couple of months VRA could come back to this major demand zone, and I think it would create a sense of absolute fear. But indicators like the stock RSI, for example, are showing that this is an area of interest and an area of potential opportunity to make some nice gains. I mean, even if we look at, I think I was looking at the money flow index. If we look at the money flow index very quickly, I think this indicator is printing a bullish divergence. So if I just get this into my preferred color settings quickly, so you can see that in the money flow index, this kind of works similar to an RSI, guys, if you are unfamiliar, by the way. But we have this sort of low from November 2022. We have this low from, was it November? Yeah, November 2022 in the MFI, right down here, okay? And you can see we've got this higher low back here in May 2025. So we've got this higher low support trend line in the MFI, but we've got lower lows in prices since November 2022. So there is some sort of bullish divergence that is building on the MFI indicator, which is also a good sign. So there is confluential signs. The stock RSI on the monthly is entering levels that are completely oversold, and the MFI is also printing a bullish divergence. However, we still need to consider altcoins are risk off until Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin decides, okay, maybe we're going to have a breather now and let altcoins have some room. So really and truly, we also like to look for 5 waves in a correction. And this looks like here, potentially we're still in a wave 3. Maybe we get some relief over the couple of weeks and then get the wave 5 back down. But I mean, this doesn't have to come into fruition, guys, but it does look like there are signs of weakness because we haven't held this previous resistance of 2020 as support. You can see we did have that, as I said, 200% relief pump that took us up to that 20 EMA in May. Right here, this yellow line, but we have since again been pushed down, and VRA continues to hit its head on this EMA and struggle to break above it. So there's no wonder that we're actually seeing again this cascade over the last couple of months. But nonetheless, I think this again from a technical standpoint is just providing opportunity. From what I showed you on previous other charts, VRA is not a standalone in this instance. So with that sort of information, guys, I think I am looking for a potential. I still think that's like a 50 to 60% drop, isn't it? Something like that. About a 60% drop is still potentially on the cards here before actually getting any real fun. Now, do I think VRA could hit some outstanding targets this cycle? In fact, I do indeed. You know, if we do, or let's go from this low, for example. If this wick low does hold, so to speak, I think that the main level of resistance that we need to break is 0.009. And this is a key area because you can see back here in March 2024, we had the wick to the 0.618 and we actually closed out above the 0.50 just, but this is an area that's very strong resistance also. So we capitulated and then we ran up into this green line, came back, ran into this green line again, and now we've just been falling back from it since. But if VRA does decide to pick up the pace here and wherever it finds this local low, whether it's from this point of contact here on the wick of April, or whether it's back down at the 2020 lows, I do believe that this project is going to have a fantastic run. I mean, even getting back from current levels up to the 0.50, you're looking at a 7x. The 0.618, which was only seen in March 2024, so just over a year ago, you're looking at a 13x opportunity. You know, you don't want to be buying these peaks in the bull market highs. You want to buy the fear, the blood, the depression. Again, nothing that I say is financial advice. And then again, even from current prices getting back to the all-time high, you're looking at an 80x. Is that possible? Who knows? A lot of coins from previous cycles may not get back to their all-time highs, but that doesn't mean that during a peak alt season that we can't see some really nice gains, especially from this low of an entry point. With that information, I'll leave you guys to it. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Take care. All the best. See you soon.